Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Late Sunday night, USC Lincoln Riley. They land what I would just classify as a diamond in the rough in the 2025 cycle. Three-star defensive lineman Cash Jacobsen from Jenks, Oklahoma, committing to USC in the 2025 cycle. This kid's not going to generate as much buzz as five-star quarterback Husan Longstreet. When you turn on the film for this kid, there's so much to love about what he's bringing to USC. This makes total sense for Lincoln Riley and USC. Like, this kid, just nobody really going after him at the Power 4 level. I think an absolute crime. If I'm a USC fan, I don't give a damn what 24/7 Sports has him ranked. This is a kid that I want to immediately add to my class in 2025. And I'll be the first one to put my hands up. 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago, I had never even heard of Cash Jacobsen in the 2025 class. I saw that he was going to take an official visit to USC this weekend, buzzed his film a little bit Friday afternoon when he committed late last night, did a little bit of a deeper dive. There's a lot to like about what this kid brings to USC. I think I'm going to start with this. Coach Henney likes to use the term dog work. I'm not necessarily sure I know what it means, but if I were to guess what exactly it means, it's probably something to do with what Cash Jacobson looks like. I mean, this dude plays his absolute tail off on the football field. And it's not just the motor. That's one thing I love about him. It's probably the thing that I love most about him. But then you start looking at some of the physical traits and say, all right, 6'3", 290. I think he's closer to 6'4", 6'5" now. The size, strength, speed combination I think is really enticing. This kid plays lacrosse in the spring. You can see that athleticism. Like, whether it's winning on the inside against interior offensive linemen, whether it's chasing plays down from the backside, you see multiple plays on the film where he is just screaming down the line of scrimmage to go make plays. The combination of the power this kid has in his hands, and you couple that with the athleticism he displays, I think that's really intriguing. I think finally he's really versatile on the defensive line, which is something that clearly has been valued for this new defensive coaching staff for USC. Hey, we want to be multiple in terms of how we use our personnel. You got a defensive lineman that when you turn on the film, he'll play the nose, he'll play the three. You'll even see him play the five out there rushing the passer off the edge, and he's an athlete to do so. Now, I don't think he plays much edge when he gets to USC, but he's a guy that I think he could give you nose tackle reps. I think he can give you three tech reps, a lot of different ways that you can use him. And he can kind of be the best of both worlds. He can give you that gritty, I'm going to take on double teams and be really tough at the point of attack, but he can also be a difference maker. He can also penetrate and get behind the line of scrimmage, which is probably something USC will be looking to add to their defense going into 2025, where I think they got some guys who are tough as nails on the defensive line. Guys like Devin Tompkins, who are clearly playing undersized right now, really doing a good job holding up, but you probably want to add a little bit more juice to the pass rush. I think Cash Jacobson, somewhere down the line, can give you some of that juice as well. The USC fans who've been rocking with the fellas for a while know we do superlatives at the end of the 2020 at the end of every recruiting cycle. You guys will be able to skip my diamond in the rough superlative because it's going to Cash Jacobson. Now, before we get into it, as always, to the USC fans, appreciate you guys more than y'all know. It's been a really fun last 48 hours talking this USC team, right? Breaking down what we saw from Jaden in his first career start, talking about the flip of five-star quarterback Husan Longstreet. This might be my favorite episode that we've done all weekend because you look at Cash Jacobsen and say, I am a massive fan of what this kid brings to the table. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into this one. And again, I kind of fell in love with this kid awfully quick because less than a week ago, I had never even heard of Cash Jacobsen in the 2025 class. I'll be the first one to admit it. I saw he was taking an official visit to USC, buzzed his film a little Friday afternoon, was really intrigued with what I saw that it went really well and that he was trending for commitment. Did a little bit of a deeper dive here Monday morning. There's a lot to like about this kid. And again, I don't want to spend too much time talking about him anymore. I want to start diving into the film. And again, what I think it starts with Cash Jacobson is that you see some really, really intriguing physical traits. And that's something we're not used to talking about when we're talking about low three stars. Now, do I think he has the ceiling that a guy like Jakeem Stewart has? No, probably not, but that's because a guy like Jakeem Stewart is kind of a generationally talented defensive lineman. But you look at Cash Jacobson and say, there's so much that you like. Let's take a look at the athleticism, the short area quicks. Talk about change of direction, like cat like, and going out to the perimeter making plays. Like again, this kid plays extremely tough. He flies to the football in all different kind of situations. You continue to work through the film. You continue to just see different things that really do flash. I think one, he's got some big time power in his hands. And again, running the line of scrimmage, really, really good athlete. I think you just see a big, almost 300, just under 300 pounds, and he just flashes the athleticism in space. Once again, I mean, I think this is a really impressive play where, hey, we're going to turn it up. Look at the big dog go here, going sideline to sideline, hustle play. You're not going to see a lot of defensive linemen make these kind of plays. One, because you don't see a lot of these, 3, 4, 5-star kids out of high school play with a ton of motor. They're kind of just used to dominating. I think, secondly, just people don't have the speed at 300 pounds that Cash Jacobson does. That's really, really unique athleticism that you see. Now you start getting into some reps where he just starts to dominate, running on a little bit of a stunt here, just power in his hands. Like, let's just go take this offensive lineman, put him right into the lap of the quarterback, go make a play. You see him win with power, but you also see him win with some quickness too. This is probably the most impressive rep we'll see on the film. Just a little crossface here, just puts this guard in a blender. Like this guard just falling on his face, splitting that guard center gap here, and then we're going to go impact the quarterback. And he plays really hard. He's always finishing plays. This is another really impressive play here where I feel you got, I think this left tackle coming around uh, to pull into the play side and trying to deal with Cash Jacobson, and this is not going to go well. Like imagine coming out of like an algebra class saying, hey, you got to go pull the play side and go take on Cash Jacobson. I'd probably just quit the football team. This kid plays with really good athleticism, but he also plays with some really good power and toughness too. Again, you talk about Big Ten football and what it looks like. I feel like it just looks like what Cash Jacobson brings to the table. Big time power in the hands, being just disruptive pretty much every single rep that you see on the film. They move him around. You talk about using your hands here. Let's just again putting the guard's face right into the turf and then going out getting the quarterback, closing speed, playing hard. Again, I think Cash Jacobson from all different spots on the defensive line has the ability to be such a disruptor. And I think what the best juice he's going to bring you is in the run game because what he does in terms of running the line of scrimmage, especially in some of those outside zones and getting off blocks and making plays, like he's an athlete where he's not just being disruptive, he's also making plays at the line of scrimmage. And you take a look at the 2025 class, and okay, don't fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure I read on Twitter that USC is the only program to have a 5-star quarterback and a 5-star wide receiver committed in Husan Longstreet and Jerome Miles. I think that's interesting and worth note. I want to go take a look at the defensive line for a second because this is a position where we need to see USC start to recruit it better. Really big fan. And there's not a single defensive lineman that's graded as a 4-star in this class, according to 24/7 Sports. But it happens to be that I am massive fans of all three of the defensive line commits that USC has, right? We've talked about Floyd Boucard. He probably would have been my diamond in the rough had it not been for Cash Jacobson. Floyd Boucard, a little bit more nationally known, really big fan of that kid from Miami Central. I think there's a really high ceiling for Floyd Boucard, a guy that's 6'3", 315, grew up in Canada playing hockey, still kind of getting used to the sport of football, transferred down to Miami Central, had a really good senior season. I haven't gotten the film yet, but I'm really excited to see what he looked like down there at Miami Central. You add Cash Jacobson, and obviously at the bottom of this list here, Gus Cordova, who we all kind of know is ranked a little bit higher than what the recruiting rankings say. We know USC is making it a priority to recruit these defensive line bodies at the high school ranks. Kind of a big fan of some of these guys who are maybe lower ranked in the class, but I think they're bringing some big time juice to USC. Wanted to hop on, talk about Cash Jacobson. Would have done it Sunday night, but I was already asleep by the time he committed to USC. It was a long day yesterday. So start on Monday morning. Another update for USC. The commitment sweatshirt getting a lot of work. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.